morning, everyone. Welcome along to our Attaché Pro reporting webinar. So what we're going to run through today is reporting in Attaché Pro, how to some quick ways to get access to some of your data in Attaché Pro, just some tips and tricks to try and speed up some of what you're all doing. First of all, I'm going to take you through sort of a couple of ways we've got to extract data from Attaché Pro. So you'll all be familiar with something we have called Superfind. And this is what you use to search throughout the system. And it's available on all master files and a few other areas as well. So what you can actually do with Superfind is that you can use it to extract information or run ad hoc reports from Attaché Pro. So for example, if I come in here, I can add some additional fields. And we'll just do it through search fields. I can add my alternate code, unit, and we'll put our cost price on, selling price. What else do we want? Maybe our stock category as well. If you click OK, you'll see that all of these fields now appear on this screen. So we just make those all nice a bit smaller so they'll fit nicely on a report, for example. And then you've got a print button that's available down the corner here. So if we click on this print button, you can see what it's going to print. It'll default to as many columns as it can fit on a printed page. And what you can do is you can sort of swap them around. If there's one that you don't want, maybe we don't want the identifier reference, but we want the stock category code. You've also got options to print totals as well. So you could sum the total of the latest cost, and that tick box will appear next to any label field, any number field that there is. So you click print, just take that to the window, and that's going to print that report for us. Now, what this also can do, that a lot of people don't know, and that can save you a lot of time as well, and I'll just show you as well. So what you can actually do is add a lot more fields. And in this case, I'm just going to go select all to save me some time. So that's got all of my fields now about a stock item on this quick find screen. So what I can do now is click the print button. Now, obviously, that's not going to fit on a page, but if I click print and from here select to export and take it out to Excel, it will take out all of those fields for you to Excel. So if we just call that export that, it's going to take that out for us. Then we can open that up. So we can open that up in Excel, and it's basically just exported all of the master file information for us. So this is a really quick and easy way to get hold of some of the information from your master file. And it means that you don't need, ODBC or Oledb or anything like that, or reporting. You can just do it, and it will export it out for you. Now that functionality is also available on the transactions. So if we go Receivables, Customers, Show Transactions in here. So we'll go All Transactions. Hopefully you all know how to use these selection codes as well. So you can create selection codes in here for your transaction inquiry. You can create as many selection codes as you want. And these can be used then to show whatever you want, what you need. With this one here, you can see that some of these boxes are grey, and the grey boxes are the ones that are dynamic. So they will change automatically. So what this means is that at the moment, our from financial period and our all transaction selection is blank. So that means it'll bring back everything it can. Our to is grey, our to financial period. So at the moment, that's set to May. If we were to do an end of period update, then that would automatically change to June. So obviously that's not set. But you can do it with transaction types and things as well. So you can have a setting for credits, which will just show you your credits. Things like that too. But on here, we've got the print button as well. So you can use the print current from here, and it'll print you a transaction listing from here as well. And you can sum the fields if you want, your amounts and your outstanding. And you can also use this to export out to Excel as well. So you can use this as a quick way to get hold of that information out to Excel. So another way you might use it is, for example, you might come in here, and this one here is already set up. It's got all of the address lines that have been added. So if you're doing a mail merge or something like that, or you want all your addresses for labels or something like that, you can add them to Superfind and just hit print here. Print, bring them all across and export, and that will automatically create that Excel file for you with all of that information in it. So it's a really quick and easy way to get hold of some of your master file information, and it makes it much easier to access that information and use it for what you need to use it for as well. So that's Superfind and the quick way of getting data out of Superfind. And so what I'm going to touch on now quickly, so what I'm just going to talk about briefly is some of the other ways we've got to access data other than Superfind. And the main ways we have are Oledb and Odbc. And these mostly just allow read access of data. They're ideal for connecting to an Excel spreadsheet or an external application. Oledb has a number of advantages over Odbc, sort of around speed and flexibility. So the third-party application that you're interfacing to can use Oledb, we would recommend it. And the data is generally retrieved using those from Attaché when required. There is limited ability to write back data using Oledb, but there's no validation on that, and we only allow certain third-party developers to have access to that as well. We also have data transfer. Now, I'm not sure how many of you have data transfer or are familiar with it, but you can use data transfer to schedule exports and imports. It has full validation. It's perfect for sort of an end-to-end integration with another system. It supports both CSV and XML imports and exports, and there's a series of predefined system objects available for it as well. There's additional options as well with data transfer. If you're importing an invoice, you can create a customer or a stock item. And so those, I guess, are sort of some of the additional options that are available. If you want, we can organise another webinar to go through those in details on how to use Oledb and Odbc and data transfer. But this one's sort of focused more, I guess, on the reporting side of things. So I'm going to move into more of the details on reporting and cover off how to make the most of some of the reporting options and functionalities that we have available in Attaché Pro. I'll just come out of here. So the first thing I'm going to cover off is save selections and multiple save selections as well. So this is probably one of the underused areas of the software, and it can become quite powerful, which I'll show you as we go later on. So multiple save selections. For example, we might have our overdue accounts list. And we might have 5 different sales areas, and you might want to create the report by each sales area so that each area manager can review their own overdue accounts. If we just print this to window, we'll get our Attaché Pro selection screen, and up here we can create a selection. So we'll add a new one, we'll call this Auckland, and that's for Auckland sales area. There's an option up here saying the selection is available to all users. So if that is ticked, then anyone else can use this selection code when I save it. If you untick that, so if you've got a lot of different users and they like to create their own selection codes and, you end up with quite a few of them, so it gets confusing. What you can actually do is untick that, and then it'll basically become a private selection, so only the current user, the user who creates it, will be able to see it and use it as well. So we'll have number of months, anyone who's 2 months overdue, and we'll show the mobile phone number on that as well. So we'll just save that selection. What we can do now is, because we want the selection for our other sales area as well, so we can actually copy that selection by using this option here. So if we copy that selection, we can save it as Christchurch, for example. Okay. And it's going to remember the rest of the settings that we've got. So it's going to remember the number of months overdue and the mobile phone number that we've already set. So we can just add our sales area in there. And then we can save that. We can copy it again for our export sales area. And save that one as well. I don't have any overdue export sales, but that's fine. So you can add as many as you want, save selections. Just make sure that you give them a name and a code. Well, a code and a description that makes sense so that you know basically what they are going forward. So you can create as many as you want, and then I will show you what you can use them for as well later on as we go through. Okay, so the next one I'm going to go into, just come out of this report, and we'll go to our transaction sequence report. Cool. So what I'm going to cover off now is this assist filter here. Now the assist filter is actually a really powerful tool, and it's possibly, I guess, underused a lot as well by a lot of our clients. So what you can use this assist filter for is basically to filter on anything you want in any way you want on the reports. And so you use that in conjunction with your saved selections, because you wouldn't want to be setting it up every time. So you can save it and use it in conjunction with that. So in this example here, what we're going to do for our transaction sequence is that maybe we want to print a report of all of our transactions that come through from our web store. And in this case, they come through with a comment that's the same. So what we can do is we can add a selection. We're going to call it web orders, or web invoices probably. A financial period, I'll just leave those for now. Summary. If we go assist, what we can do now is we can select any of the fields that are on this report that are available to us, and we can create a filter on any of those. For this one, we're going to select the comment field, and then you get all of your different options. So you can select that it equals something, it's between, greater than, or less than. So this can be used to filter it in any way. So if we go equal to, and in our case, our web orders always start with web in the comment, but then there might be a code afterwards. So we can use the star here, which is a wildcard in Attaché Pro. So if we add this filter here, basically what this is going to do is this report's now only going to print any transactions where the comment starts with web and then has any characters after it. So by using wildcards, save selections, and these criteria, you can have multiple criteria as well. So you might want to filter on something else too, which you can do. So we go OK on that, and we'll just save that one. So now we've got a save selection here, which is going to print us our web invoices. Click OK. I think I've got some that I added in there for that. Again, we can add another selection. In this case, we might want POS credits, we'll call this one. So this is any credits that come from the point of sale system. We've got an external point of sale system. So you can use the assist filter in conjunction with these filters here. So for a transaction type for this, we're going to put it as credits because we only want to see credits. Using our assist, we can create a filter. In this case, I think we have the salesperson coming through as 00 on the point of sale system. So we can add that in and click OK and save that. So what that's going to do is it's going to use those filters together to only show us credits where the salesperson's 00 on this transaction list. And this is a save filter now, so you only have to use the assist once and set it up once, and then you can use it as many times as you like after that. So if we go, OK, these are credits that have been put through that match those criteria. Now the next neat feature we have available, just bring us down to the transactions by category. This one here is used in conjunction with the save selections. In this case, we might want to print this report, and we might want to print this report for the last 3 periods. We've got financial periods in here. If we were to add a selection and set those, then when we roll over, we no longer want, March through to May. So I'm going to show you how the dynamic period ranges work. Now these can be a little bit tricky, I guess, to get your head around, but I'll start and show you and try and explain it as we go along. So if we add a selection here, we call this the last 3 months. And we're going to make this one If you were just doing the last 3 months and that's all you wanted, March, April, May, because we're at the end of May, we're about to roll our end of period, so we want the March, April and May transactions together, you could do this and save it. But as I said, when you do that and you roll over, you're no longer going to want your March to May transactions. So we added in this functionality, which I guess is we call the dynamic period ranges. Can be a bit tricky, I guess. So what we want, we'll start with the 2 financial periods. So we always want the last financial period that we're printing to be our current financial period. So that's nice and easy. We select current period there, which is what we want, because that's one of our options available. And we have a preview button available here as well. So what that'll do is tell you what it currently is. So yes, we want our current period, and that's May. That's the one we want. So if we save that there, that's going to save it as current period. Our from financial period, so the first period for the report, we select that. What we want is actually our current period, but then we want to take some periods off our current period. And this can be quite confusing, and I find sometimes it's better to just do it thinking about what you want for the current month. So we know that we want March. So if we put in 1, for example, we'd end up with April, because that's going to do May, which is what we currently are, and move back 1. If we put in 2, it's going to tell us it's March. So now we know we've got the right one, and we can save that. So if we run this report in May, we're going to get March through to May transactions. If we run it in June using the save selection, then we're not. We're going to get April through to June transactions. So we'll just save that one there. Just my category hasn't been entered. Run that, and that'll bring the transactions through that fit into that period. Now, something else that I didn't show you before, but I will, that you can do with these, is if we go transactions, transaction sequence, and we know that we want to run our web orders report, for example, we can actually select our selection here from the Unified Print dialog. If we select our selection here, it'll actually bypass the selection screen and take us straight through and run the report. So it's a little bit of a time saver as well. So we can do it from there, and it's going to take us through and run the report for us without us having to go through the selection screen. Now, the dynamic periods is available, dynamic period settings is available in all areas of the software. So another example I might just show you quickly is in sales analysis it's available. So under our sales analysis reports, if we do a customer by product, and select an aged analysis. So in this case, we might want maybe customer by product for this financial year. So we've got a new selection called the current financial year. So we go from our from period, which is the first period we want the report to be run. You see we've got options here for first period and last period as well. So we can select the first period of our financial year. If you preview that in sales analysis, that happens to be period 4, which is one of the reasons why we put these period filter functions in, because understanding some of how the periods work can be quite confusing. So being able to say the first period of the financial year is much easier than sort of figuring out that currently in the current month, the first period of the financial year is 4. Save, and then 2 period, and we can select the last period of our financial year as well, which is -7 at the moment. So if we save that, that's going to run this report for us for the first to the last period of the current financial year in sales analysis. It's also the from and to periods are available obviously in payables and inventory and all the other areas of the software as well. That one's saved. So that's the dynamic period ranges and how those work. And now I guess I'm going to show you what these can be used for, how they can help you save time as well by putting it all together. So if we go to our reports manager in Attaché Pro, which is where all of our reports are, so you can get to all your reports through here as well. We can set favourite reports as well, so you can favourite some reports, which makes it just easier to get to them if you want. But what we're really going to use in here is the report groups. So if we right-click and select to add a new report group, and we're going to add our AP end of period report group, for example. And then what this is going to do is that we can set up all the reports that we want to run at our end of month and add them all to this report group. So in this case, we're doing our supplier end of period report. There's a tick box here which will allow us to put all the reports to the same destination. So you can choose to print, Alex, or export the reports as well. So I'm just going to make this one a bit bigger so that I can see all the fields on there. So if I select a report name, got accounts payable, what we're doing our end of period. We'll want an age trial balance, and we're going to export that to PDF, and we're going to export that to accounts payable end of month folder. And then we'll call it our age trial balance, for example. And then we can add a new one. So the option here is to have all reports to the same destination. So if we tick that, then it's automatically going to know that we want all to export to PDF, and we just have to enter a file name for each one. Similarly, if you were doing all to printer and you had that set to yes, then it would all send them out to the same printer. So we've got our accounts payable age trial balance, and we'll do our audit trail as well. Audit trail. Do a couple of analysis reports. And then we'll do accounts payable future. These take a little bit of setting up, I guess, but once you've got them all set up, you can use them again and again and again. So I'll just pop our accounts payable ledger totals in there as well. Where are you? Ledger totals report. Now there's options here for selection codes as well. So using the dynamic periods, the assist, and the multiple save selections that I showed you earlier on, you can use all of those to generate the reports the way you want, so that you can use the selection codes in here as well once you've got all those save selections set up. We'll save that report group. Now that we've got our report group, we can just right-click on our report group in here, go Process Group. That's just going to go through and literally run every single one of those reports for us, and export them all to that PDF, to that folder that we've got set up under my Attaché Pro in a current month folder. And I've got each of my end of periods in there. And then what you can do is once you've rolled them, you can just simply copy the current month over to your historic folder. That way you don't need to change the path each time, but you do need to make sure that you remember to move the reports once you've finished doing your end of month for all of those. Running those reports will have generated all those reports in there for me. So it's a one step basically to run all of your end of period reports that you want run if you want to do it that way. So that's how to create a report group. Now what I'm going to go through is scheduling a report as well. So we have the ability using the schedule manager or the PBS manager, ACT manager, to schedule reports as well. So if we go to General Ledger, Financial Reports, Run, and I'm just going to select our P&L. Now, on this one here, I've got some options. So I'm going to select to export it. I'll just pop it in that same folder. I can save that there. But instead of selecting export now to export it, what I'm actually going to select is schedule. So selecting the schedule button is going to open up this Manifest Creator screen, and then that's going to give me the options about when I want this report to be scheduled. So I can set a time to run it. I'm going to want it to go on Mondays, but we'll do next Monday as the first Monday at 8 a.m. So that's the time that it's going to run. You then get the option to repeat it. There's a lot of different intervals available to repeat it. In this case, we'll do it weekly, but you can do it hourly, 6 weekly, monthly. There's also some options around sort of the first day or the last day of the month or the first weekday of the month or weekdays, depending on how frequently you want the report to be sent. Then you can schedule those basically repetition intervals depending on that. So this report here is going to run on Monday morning at 8 o'clock, and it's going to run every week as well. So if I select Next now, I've got some options in here, and I've already set this up, so it's going to remember it for me. So this will save our manifest, which means it'll be run. And then I'm actually going to set it up to email a copy of the exported report. So our email recipients are the management team, the email subjects management report, and the email body here is, "Hi team, the P&L is attached for the weekly management meeting." So basically what this is going to do is that it's going to run that profit and loss report every Monday morning at 8 o'clock and email it to that management team email address attached to that output. So if I select Finish, then that's going to go and create that, and so it's going to automatically run and send that report every week. So it's great for automating tasks that you've been doing, and it'll just speed things up, I guess, around some of those things. Someone, just pointed out as well, a hint from one of our partners. You can also use date parameter, so square brackets date in the names, and then it'll put a date stamp in, and so the reports won't overwrite if you want to do that as well. What I'm going to do is now show you what we can do using, I guess, all of the things that we had done before. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new report group, and this is going to be our accounts receivable end of period report group. And so we're going to select some of the ones we had before. So we're going to select accounts receivable and our overdue accounts list. And we're going to use our selection codes that we used. So we can do that for Auckland. We're going to select it to export, and we'll put it in the AR, and we'll call it Auckland Overdue folder. And then we might want to do it with one of the other selection codes as well. So we can select this again and select our Christchurch one. Put them all to the same destination. That means they all want to be exported. Christchurch Overdue. We can also add in our transaction listing ones that we set up. So we might want accounts receivable, transaction sequence, and select our web orders code that we had set up. Select our transaction sequence and then select our POS credits code that we had set up. And then we'll do one of the ones with our dynamic period sequence that we had, dynamic dates that we had set up as well. So that's our category. And that's going to print the last 3 months as well. And any additional reports can be added to that as well that people might need. So if we save that one, we can come back in here. And what we get the option to do if we right-click on here as well is schedule the group. So I'll just go through the process group, which is the one I did before with accounts payable. We'll run the group based on the setup that you've got. If you selected to print the group, it would actually just print all of the reports to a printer, even though they're set up to export. So that's an option that's available as well. But in this case, we're going to select to schedule the group of reports. So we've selected that. It's going to bring us through to here, and we can select when we want to run it. In this case, we might want to run it, and we'll do it on the 1st of the month at 10 p.m. And then our defined interval is what I was talking about earlier. So these are the options on when it's going to repeat. So what we can select to do is have it on the first weekday of the month. So that means on the first weekday of the month, every month at 10 p.m., then it will run this series of reports, so the whole group of accounts receivable reports, and export those out. Select, we don't want to email a copy of that one, so we'll just take those ones out. We should also give the manifest a name so that you know what it is. So in this case, it's the AR end of period, monthly, on the first. Then select finish, and it's going to create that for you. So what that'll mean is that when you come in on the second weekday of the month, all of your accounts receivable reports will have been run for you overnight and exported to PDF. So that can be a great time saver, especially if you have quite complex reporting needs or reports that take a long time to run. Having those run automatically on the server overnight before you come into work can save you a lot of time at end of month. And using all of the dynamic periods and the assist filters and the save selections means that you can put in any selections. So some people run sales reports sort of for each category, and being able to do that automatically through the report groups will save you a lot of time. So that's most of what I was planning on covering for reporting today. So hopefully you've all seen something there that you didn't know before, and it might speed up your report processing a little bit and also help you access some of that data through Superfind. So what I'm going to go into now and cover off for the remaining time we've got is the Attaché Pro dashboards and using the dashboards to access data rather than having to use the report and the reporting tools that are available. So there's the option to launch dashboards for Attaché Pro. I'm just going to cover off the dashboards as they are and sort of show you all of them today and talk about a little bit about what you can do with them. What we can do is if you want more detailed on how to set up dashboards and actually create your own dashboards, we can probably look at doing another webinar as well. So just pop that in the feedback form and we can do something like that too. So we'll just start at dashboards. So the home tab of the dashboards has a calendar gadget that you can add appointments in and actually sync it to Outlook calendar as well. And then it just shows you your customer creditor balances and some of your bank account balances. All of these screens are customizable and you can put your own gadgets on and edit the gadgets as well to see what you want to see. We also added a user-defined tab here, which lets you select a couple of gadgets. It comes blank initially and lets you select whatever gadgets you want to see to show on there. It's just an extra page that you can use to put whatever you want in there. So I've got a monthly sales one and a customer listing in there in mine. But if we come down and have a look at the receivables area, this is the tab for the receivables. So for anyone who's doing accounts receivable in your company, there's a lot of information on here, and it can be faster than going in and running all your reports and checking all your areas as well. So we've got a graph over here at the top that shows us our top debtors. So that's the people that owe us the most money. You can drill down from these gadgets as well, and some of them can have searches in them too. So this one here is showing all of the debtors that owe us the most money. So you can see quite clearly who you might need to look at. There's also the top 10 customers. These are the people that you've sold the most to year to date for 10. As I said, these can all be customised if you want to see different information as well. And we've got the customers over the credit limit here, so this is going to show you anyone who owes more than their credit limit, which is great for debtor management and making sure that you keep those debtor days down, having these available for you to just easily and quickly have a look at. The customers here is just a listing of all your customers that you have. Like I said, there's drill down available. So if we click on LifeWell, for example, it's going to open up the customer master file for us so we can go in and have a closer look at them and their details if we need to. If we take a look at the Overdue invoices gadget, for example, all of these can be taken to full screen by using this button here. So if we take that one out to full screen, you can get a much clearer look, I guess, on the gadget and what there is in there. And so these are all of our overdue invoices that we've got in our systems. So a couple of things we can do quite easily is we can right-click and select to group by. So at the moment it's group by customer code. What we could do is add the date, and to add a new field to group by, you just drag it from the columns up to the top there. And now it's going to group by customer code and date. So if we come down to someone who's got multiple, it's one here's got some due on that date and some due on that date as well. And they've got the totals as well for each date, and that's shown there too, that you can see. What we can also do is remove the customer code from the grouping just by bringing it down. So now it's just going to sort on date, or we can actually have due date as well. So now you can come in and see all of the amounts that are due to come in on each of those dates. So on the 20th of March, we'll be expecting to get that amount in, or that's the amount of invoices that we have due. And there's drill down in here as well to the customers too. Just remove that back down and it goes back to the normal size there now as well. So now if we move on to the Payables tab, you can see here a number of gadgets that we have available for the payables. These help with the management of your accounts payable system. So you've got the payment due calendar here, which will show you all the dates that your payments are due on. So these dates turn bold if you have a payment due on that date. So you can select to show all today, this week or next week. So it's an easy way to know and see who's due to be paid when. So you can select the 20th of the month, for example. It will show you everyone that has an invoice that's due to be paid on that date as well. So it's quite easy to see the details of what's due. Got your top 10 outstanding creditors as well. So that's the people that you owe the most money to. And they're available up the top there too. So you can keep an eye on that to see where your creditor balances are at. And there's a similar gadget here to the payments due for your prompt payment discount. So that's basically basing it off the discount date rather than the payment date. So that'll show you what days you need to make your payments by if you want to get that discount as well. So this is a creditors gadget as well, and this has a search field in it. And this search will search any of the fields that you've told it to search or that you've had set up. So for example, I want to search Auckland. So that's an address line too, so obviously that's not set up. So if we just go into the properties here, and I'll just select the search fields, and I can select to include all of these in the search as well. Save that. Then I can come in here, and if I type Auckland, you can see it's going to return anyone who's got Auckland in any of those fields that I had selected in my search field. So it can be quite a neat way to find customers or creditors or products throughout the software as well. It can be quite a quick way to do it. We have a dashboard as well. That gives you your bank accounts at the top with a search field and some details on them. Got the ability to see the unreconciled receipts and the unreconciled payments. Obviously, those are the transactions that are due to be reconciled or that you haven't yet reconciled in your system. And you've got your inwards cash flow gadgets as well, inwards cash flow and outwards cash flow month to date. And that's done based on your expense codes on there as well. General ledger, there's a 12-month profit and loss gadget, so you can come in here and simply see what your profit and loss is. Should add there is the ability to print from these reports as well, so a simple right-click and print will let you print the data that's in this report too. So you can print from any of your gadgets too, out to the printer or export. In the general ledger gadgets, we've got a budget actual comparison. We've got your current batches as well. And this one here is an accounts. This might be some accounts that you want to keep an eye on with your current balance or your budget year to date. You can change these gadgets to be graphs if you want. And so you could have a graph sort of that shows your budget and your current balance for your accounts that you wanted to keep an eye on as well. Our inventory dashboards, there's a number that are available in here that are quite handy. So we've got your slow moving stock. So that'll basically do a calculation and it bases it around sort of what hasn't sold, depending on the opening stock as well. And so that'll show you anything that's basically considered slow moving stock. So maybe you might want to, if you're holding a lot of stock in there, you might want to sort on here, see how much we've got. So we've got 566 units of that in stock. and we've only sold 8 this year. So you might want to look at that and maybe put them, put it out on special or do a promotion around that to help reduce some of that stock that you're holding that maybe isn't selling. We've also got stock not sold, so rather than just slow moving, that's stock that hasn't actually sold at all. So that's nil sales this year. Stock below minimum quantity. This is just a gadget to help you with your planning and your reordering. So it's just going to show you anything where the quantity in stock's actually below what you've got set as the minimum stock on the master file. So it's a nice, quick, easy way to see if there's any stock that needs to be reordered. Bestsellers List. This is just the sales value year to date for each of your products. So you can see basically what product or stock line you're selling the most of. Sales dashboards, we've got overdue sales orders. So these are orders that are due to be delivered, but obviously haven't been delivered yet. So these show all of your overdue orders that you've got that need to be delivered. That one there's bold because you can see that obviously there was a few on that date, and by selecting that date, it's going to filter it and show all of those ones. But you can view them by today, this week, or next week as well. Current sales orders, this is just a gadget that shows you all your current sales orders. If you want, you can add a search to any of these gadgets. So by selecting Edit Properties and ticking the search one and selecting some search fields, that's going to add a search there. So then you can search that gadget as well, the same as I showed you with the other search that we have. Stock on back orders, so just a list of all your back orders that you've got, so you can keep an eye on those as well. So you know obviously what you're waiting to come in, so that you can fulfill those back orders. And then there's some current invoices there too, and this is showing the lines of the invoices as well. So that's the detail of what's on each of your current invoices that's in your system. Got purchases dashboards as well, so overdue purchase orders, a similar concept as the overdue sales invoices orders. It's going to show you anything that is due to come in that hasn't come in. So potentially that's some of the stock that you're waiting on. You can drill down to the purchase order and see if that one's in the system and follow it up as well to see what it is that you're waiting on, and maybe print a copy, resend it to your supplier, whatever it is, through there as well. Received uninvoiced, so that's obviously any products that you've received that you haven't entered a supplier invoice for, so that's your purchase liability that you've got going on there. Stock on order, so this is everything that's currently on order as well. And then your current purchase orders, again, just a little gadget showing all of the purchase orders that you have available that are currently in your system. Got bill of materials dashboards too, which shows you your reservations that you've got for your bill of materials. Any allocated stocks, that's any stock that's obviously been allocated to your manufacturing. And then your bills as well, which is the search option to search through those. Fixed assets has, again, a master file sort of search type gadget. Service diary listing, and it also has your replacement required. So that's a list of any products that are due for replacement, any assets that you've got that have hit sort of the end of their useful life and are possibly due for replacement. Job costing, overdue jobs, so that's anything obviously that's past its deadline date. Uninvoiced transactions, so that's any job transactions that have been processed that you haven't invoiced out to your customers yet. And there's also a jobs functionality available at the bottom too. We've got manager dashboards as well. So if we come up to the management home, this basically just shows you a very high level view of some of the accounting information that's in your system. So the key ratios, so you've got your debtor days there. So that'll show you where your debtor days are currently sitting at, and you can set up a target as well. So it shows you your target on the graph and your debtor days. Sales, where your sales are tracking, so you've got your actual versus whatever your budget is that you've set up. Your cash position as well, which will give you a consolidated balance of your bank accounts. These are your control accounts that you've set up to sort of watch, and there's a gross profit graph as well, and some expenses graph too, so you can see how you're tracking along over the year and a quick look. There's another user-defined tab available for the manager dashboards, which you can use to put any gadgets you'd like on. Debtors, again, we've got the age trial balance. This just shows us where each of our debtors are across 3, 2, 1, and month and current. Anyone over their credit limit, and the overdue invoices as well, in case you need to track those down. Expenses, this one here has been set to track salary and wages, but you can set up gadgets to track certain general ledger accounts if you want to keep an eye on those general ledger accounts. And then you've got your 12-month profit and loss available there, as well as your creditor age trial balance. Stock. So this one here shows you your stock turn days. So obviously that comes back to sort of those slow-moving stock gadgets, which shows up on this page as well. So that just gives you an idea of what your stock turn is, and you can have a target for that as well. In my demo data, I'm obviously well over my target. But you can use this to help track and make sure that you're keeping only sort of the stock that you're required to keep. It also shows you your monthly sales quantities. These are idea of all your sales that you've done for your product, so you can track the sales across there as well. See if there's anything that maybe was moving and then has stopped moving, or anything that just isn't selling in comparison to the amount that you're holding, that maybe you need to look at the amount you hold or review to maybe hold slightly less or something like that. And then we've got the sales dashboard as well. This one here again is showing you all of your sales that you've got for your stock. The change in customer sales, this is quite a neat gadget as well. So I'll just take this one to full screen and show it to you. So basically this shows you, based on your customers, how much their sales were month to date, what their average monthly sales are, and if there's been an increase or decline in those sales as well. So you can use this to track your customers' spending habits. Sort of the stock one was all about sort of what stock's moving. This is about your customers and making sure that your customers are still buying with you. And so you can track them using this sort of change in customer sales gadget. It can be quite helpful to do that. Bestsellers as well. That's your products that are the best-selling products. And then you've got your sales and your gross profit here. So you can track your sales against your gross profit, see what sort of margin you are, and making sure that obviously they should track quite closely to each other and that the blue line doesn't go over the orange line. And that will be for the financial year as well. You can see your sales versus your gross profit in there too. So that's probably about most of the dashboards covered. I think I've been through everything that's in there now. I haven't really shown you how to create a dashboard or a gadget, from scratch, but we can possibly do that in a future session if that's something that people are interested in learning about. That's it from me today. Thank you all for your time today and for coming along, and hopefully you've learned something, so it's been worthwhile. Great to have you all here today.